Oke, hello semuanya, selamat siang. Apa kabar nih? Semoga tetap sehat dan semangat ya, walaupun kita di tengah pandemi COVID-19. Anyway, kembali lagi bersama saya, Kristen Claudia. Kalau tadi jam 11 siang kita udah ketemu dan kita diskusi tentang studi di Asia, tepatnya di Wusong University, Korea Selatan. Sekarang kita bakalan diskusi tentang studi di Eropa. Nah, Eropa ini, sebagaimana teman-teman tahu pastinya, merupakan salah satu benua dengan kualitas pendidikan yang tinggi dan jumlah pelajar asingnya cukup banyak dari seluruh dunia. Jadi bakalan seru banget nih pembahasan kita kali ini. Anyway, bagi teman-teman yang baru gabung ke acara Digital Festival 2020, welcome. Acara ini merupakan acara digital festival yang diinisiasi oleh Best Partner Education dengan Kampung Course. Nah, bagi teman-teman yang baru tahu, festival ini merupakan festival dengan orientasi kepada persiapan studi, future planning bagi pemuda dan pemudi Indonesia. Jadi teman-teman bakalan belajar banyak banget, dapat info banyak banget dari beasiswa, pengenalan kampus, prospek kerja, hingga persiapan hal-hal untuk mendaftar beasiswa atau kuliah seperti TOEFL atau mungkin IELTS. Nah, acara ini juga terbuka loh buat umum. Jadi semua teman-teman siapapun bisa banget gabung di acara ini di seluruh Indonesia, of course. Dan so far kita sudah punya hampir 400 peserta yang mendaftar. Banyak banget kan? Karena kita datangnya dari berbagai provinsi nih, jadi boleh dong teman-teman say hi dan juga sebutin dari kota serta provinsi mana di comment section below. Anyway, Kristen mau ingetin bahwa di setiap sesi bakalan ada hadiah dan door prize, which is TOEFL simulation for free untuk 5 orang yang aktif dalam memberikan pertanyaan maupun memberikan komentar sepanjang sesi ini dimulai. Nah, jadi ingat kalau pemenangnya setiap sesi itu ada 5 orang, dan di sesi ini kita akan ada 5 slot untuk 5 orang yang bisa memenangkan simulasi TOEFL. Keren kan? Jadi jangan lupa buat kalau misalnya ada pertanyaan tanya aja, kalau misalnya ada komentar komentarin aja, oke? Dan pertanyaannya juga boleh ditanyain sepanjang sesinya ya, jadi nggak perlu nunggu sampai akhir sesi. Oke. Nah, langsung saja seperti yang tadi Kristen bilang, kali ini kita bakalan belajar diskusi tentang studi, terutama studi di Eropa, dan kali ini kita bakalan ditemenin sama Mr. Liam Ryan dari University of Limerick, Ireland. Alright, Mr. Ryan, hi.
Hi, Christine. Good morning. Good afternoon in Jakarta time.
Good morning. Yes. By the way, how are you, Mr. Liam?
I'm very well, very well. Looking forward to today's session. So thank you for inviting me.
Okay, that's great. So Mr. Liam Ryan here is from University of Limerick, Ireland, and he's going to give you presentations about University of Limerick, of course, and the time is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Christine. I will share my screen here now a second. So we'll speak a little bit about options of studying in Europe, as we mentioned. I'm going to introduce Ireland as a destination to study in Europe. It's been known as the Silicon Valley of Europe. So I'll go through a little bit more information about University of Limerick, obviously, but also the conditions of studying in Ireland, how to apply, the expected fees and things like that. So if you have any questions before, during, or after, feel free to put them in the chat box, and we will do a questions and answers session after we finish. So just a very short introduction. So I'm the Southeast Asia Regional Manager for the global team in the University of Limerick. I'm actually a graduate of UL myself, so studied politics and international relations. And I basically act as a student support for any Southeast Asia students considering studying in UL. I visited beautiful Indonesia maybe 15 or 20 times over the last number of years. And it's a place that's close to my heart. So we do have a number of Indonesian students studying here in Limerick. So Ireland, why consider Ireland as a destination to study? It's obviously a European country, but I'll explain, I suppose, why to pick it. It's an English-speaking country in the EU. So once Brexit happens, it will be the only English-speaking country in Europe. It's been the fastest growing economy in Europe for the last number of years, so the last 5 years or so. And a big driver of that economic growth has been huge growth in the areas of tech, pharmaceuticals, medical, and other industries. So we've seen a massive jump in the number of large tech companies that have their European headquarters based here in Ireland. So it's now been dubbed the Silicon Valley of Europe. That's good, obviously, for internship opportunities and postgraduate work opportunities. But also the other good news is the cost of education is subsidized by the Irish government. So most European countries, so the Netherlands, Italy, France, Germany, and Ireland will all have lower tuition fees than the likes of the UK, Australia, USA, because the governments do subsidize the cost of education. So that is a big benefit to international students who are considering studying abroad, to think about the cost and return on investment. So before we get into the nuts and bolts, I want to ask in chat, does anyone know any famous Irish celebrities? So if you know any musicians, any TV stars, movie stars that's Irish, put it into chat there, and we'll catch up with that at the end of the presentation. Okay, just a short introduction to the University of Limerick. It's a public government university in Ireland, ranked in the top 100 young universities in the world by QS and Times Higher Education. We're number 3 in Europe for career preparation, and that's a big focus of the university. So we are very much focused on preparing our students and our graduates in the best possible way to succeed in their careers after graduation. And then very importantly, we're number 1 in the world for international student experience. So that's kind of the whole kind of lifestyle in the university. So the facilities on campus, the openness and welcoming nature of the community here, and just the overall experience. It's very, very highly rated, and we get very positive feedback from our international students that come to study here. Okay, so the location. So for those of you that don't know about Ireland, Ireland is the nearest neighbour of the UK. So we're off the western coast of mainland Europe. So you can see there, London is in the bottom right-hand corner. Limerick is on the west coast then of Ireland. So we're about 1 hour by plane from London in the UK. But Ireland is a separate country, separate English-speaking country that is staying as part of Europe after Brexit. Limerick is the 3rd largest city in Ireland. So there's 4 main cities. So Dublin, Cork, Limerick, and Galway are the 4 cities. And it's quite a small island. So from Limerick on the west coast to Dublin on the east coast is about 2 hours drive. So you can get around quite easily and visit different parts of Ireland as well. We have a population of 4.9 million people. So smaller than Jakarta, even. So quite a small population in comparison to Indonesia, but we have a very, very strong education and work environment in Ireland. Just to speak a little bit about the kind of economy and the postgraduate opportunities. So according to the OECD, which is an economic think tank, the Irish economy will be the least impacted globally by the coronavirus pandemic. That is particularly important, obviously, for students who are considering staying in the country they studied in to work afterwards and so on. We have fantastic post-study work opportunities and visa scheme. So we offer an up to 2-year automatic stay-back visa once graduated. So students can study here and then work automatically here straight away after they graduate. So why is the Irish economy the least impacted globally by the coronavirus pandemic? It's a very good question, and it's answered in part by the next slide. So these are industry clusters that we have based here in Ireland. So 9 of the top 10 global ICT companies, so information technology companies, have their European base in Ireland. 8 of the top 10 global pharmaceutical companies have have their European base here, and then 15 of the top 20 medical device companies have their European base in Ireland. So the three main areas that have been more busy than ever in coronavirus have been ICT, pharmaceuticals, and medical devices. So about 70% of the world's ventilators are made in Ireland. All of the big tech companies have their headquarters here, and pharmaceutical companies obviously are researching treatments and things like that. So we've seen actually those three sectors have grown the number of job vacancies that are in Ireland at the moment. We've seen big hiring bursts in those three sectors. So as a result, we've been quite fortunate that our economy has not taken a massive hit in terms of the current situation. So then UL has about 2,000 industry partners. Most of those are in Ireland, and about 1,500 of those are large multinational companies that you will have heard of those. Okay, so if I'm going to just post up a photo of some of the companies that have their headquarters here. If you've heard of any of the companies, or if you would like after your graduation to work in any of these companies, put a post in chat and just let me know which company you would like to work for. So this is just a sample of some of the firms that have their European base here in Ireland. So from the US, companies like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Citibank, Amazon, all have their European base here. Deutsche Bank, Zendesk, SAP from Europe, and then from Asia, Huawei, Takeda, HCL, Fujitsu all have their European research and development and manufacturing hubs based in Ireland. So if there's any of those that you think would be a good fit for you when you graduate, feel free to post that in the comments. Just to give you an idea of how fast the Irish tech area is growing and how the growth has continued even during COVID. This was a news article that was posted yesterday. So TikTok, which is the famous video social media platform, has just announced it will open its first European data center in Ireland, creating thousands of jobs and an investment of about 420 million euros. So that was just posted yesterday, and it's some excellent news for students who are coming here, but also for the workforce here in Ireland. So I suppose the big thing I'm trying to explain to you is you can come to study here in Ireland, but you also we very much want students to graduate and to work in Ireland as well, because we don't have enough qualified staff members to fill all the vacancies that are coming into the country. Just to give a couple of summaries of average salaries. So the overall average bachelor's degree salary is about 30,000 euros. And then the average UL graduate salary is about 35,000 euros per year. So that is about 613 million rupiah per year as a bachelor's degree graduate. So once you graduate from your program. Just the sectors then. So these are some of the summaries of sector costs and sector salaries that you would expect from graduation. So between kind of 32 and 31,000 is the average per sector in that instance. As I mentioned at the start, one of the big benefits of choosing Ireland as your study destination and studying in Europe in general is the cost comparison. So cost of education in Ireland is lower than the UK, USA, and Australia. So we receive millions of euros of publicly funded money each year, which means the cost to our students is much lower. So some people will equate low cost with low quality. However, in Europe and particularly in Ireland, low cost does not necessarily mean low quality. So we're very, very highly ranked. We have very, very high student experience and kind of very, very good experience across the board compared to UK, US, and Australian universities. This is a cost comparison of average tuition fees and average living costs. So the total in Ireland is about 19,000 euros. It's almost double that in the UK. It's nearly 3 times that in the USA, and it's more than double that in Australia. So that's kind of a very, very key selling point. You still get the English language tuition and English language speaking country. You get the job opportunities after you graduate, but the investment in terms of monetary investment is significantly lower because we do get funding from the Irish government. Okay, that's enough about fees and wages and things like that. So we have obviously a very, very strong student experience. So I'm just going to, rather than me speaking about the student experience, we actually interviewed a number of our students to ask them about what it was like studying in Ireland. So let's hear from them now.
The culture of Ireland just draws me here. Whether it's the literature, the music, going out and seeing the landscapes really just move my soul.
I decided to come to Ireland because my priority was how the environment would be. It was safe and friendly, and of course, such an excellent education system.
There is a lot of job opportunities. Ireland is growing really fast and it's letting us grow with it. I haven't even finished my master and I got a job.
The opportunities in Dublin are great. There's so many huge businesses and there's so many opportunities to do post-grads. There's definitely something for everyone.
My experience so far has been nothing but positive. The university I attend is very supportive. The facilities and the resources are just endless.
The teachers are some of the best in the world, best experience in their fields, and you can really learn from them, not just what they're teaching you in the class, but their own perspectives.
The Irish people have a huge heart. Whenever you need help, anything, they're really friendly. I think it's the perfect environment to be a student.
There's always something to do. The city life here is vibrant and full of good crack.
Coming to Ireland has been one of the best decisions in my life. It has opened up a lot of avenues for me.
Looking back 4 years ago, I had no idea how much it would change my life to come to Ireland, and it's truly been life-changing. And I think that the people that I've met, the friends that I've made, will be my lifelong friends. And Ireland as a whole will always hold a special place in my heart.
Okay, so that's just a little bit from our students, and you can see the passion and the joy that they speak about their study experience here in Ireland. So then a little bit about the University of Limerick and what makes UL distinctive. So why study here over other European universities? So we have the largest internship program in Europe. We have a very, very strong focus on ensuring that every student that comes into the university leaves with some work experience as part of their program. So we, as I also mentioned, then we have number one international student experience in the world. Our degrees are designed by industry for industry. So every single program is designed in consultation with the companies that are based here in Ireland to make sure that the students are being taught the skills that they need to work after they graduate. And then are affordable as well, as I mentioned. The fees are approximately €12,000 per year. The structure of our degree programs. So if any of you are considering bachelor degree programs, the structure of our degrees are 4-year bachelor degree programs. So in first and second year, you will study theory and practical work on campus. In year 3, we organize an 8-month internship, normally paid in a company related to your field of study. So that's arranged by the university, and you will be supervised by the university and by the company, and you'll actually get almost a year of work experience before you graduate from the bachelor's degree. The salary is approximately €2,000 per month, depending on the company that you work for. And we have internships in, you name a big firm, and we have the internships there. So Google, Microsoft, Apple, across the board, there's huge opportunities in those companies, as I mentioned. In year 4, you will come back on campus, complete the program, and do a research project, and you get a 1-year visa stay back after a bachelor degree. For masters, they're normally 1-year programs, so 2 taught semesters. So we all of our programs intake in September each year. So we only do 1 intake per year for all of our courses. So September to May will be taught semesters, and then students will do a research project or a company internship in the summer semester from May to August. And then students for that will get a 2-year visa stay back. In order to apply, students will need their bachelor degree transcript and certificate, a personal statement, and 2 letters of recommendation. And obviously then we look for English language proof, so something like TOEFL, IELTS, PTE for English language proofs. In terms of subject offers, we are a comprehensive university, so we have 19 different schools that are arranged into 4 faculties. So our main faculties are science and engineering, education and health science, arts, humanities and social science, and business. And each one of those has a number of schools that sit within that. And each of those schools then offer a variety of bachelor, master's, and PhD programs. We have about 250 programs, so I'm not going to list all of them. But some of our popular courses would be things like engineering, so aeronautical and mechanical engineering, computer science and information systems, business, marketing and management, and also law, politics and psychology as well. So quite a wide range of programs that are available. If you do see any school that interests you, feel free to post a question about courses offered, and we'll deal with them in the questions and answers section. So what happens after you graduate? So during your studies, in terms of working, you can work up to 20 hours per week during the semester and 40 hours per week outside of the semester. And most of our Indonesian students that have studied here in Limerick have taken up some sort of part-time work. Wages are approximately 10,000 euros per year, depending on how many hours you work. But that's kind of normally the minimum. If you work the hours that are mentioned above, your minimum wage is about 10,000 euros per year. So you can cover your cost of living, your cost of food and accommodation and things like that. Job searching is available through the UL Student Life website, and jobs can be taken on or off campus. And the city centre is about 10 minutes by bus. So a lot of students will work in the city centre or work in the university campus. So that's very important, and that's obviously kind of during your studies. And then one of the key pieces then is working after your studies. So students get a 12 or 24 month stay back visa to work in Ireland upon graduation. So the university actually is your visa sponsor for that period. You can work in any company you wish full time. And then basically at the end of that, you would then look to apply for a longer stay visa. So the average graduate salary, as I mentioned, is about 35,000 euros. And our Careers Connect service, our UL Careers service, will provide a huge amount of assistance for job searching, job matching, psychometric testing, CV preparation, all those sort of things. So you will get a huge amount of assistance to actually find a job during your graduation period. And then to remain after your graduate visa, you must apply for what's called a Tier 2 visa. So that's a three-year visa that you would work in a specific company. So the requirements for that are you must have a full-time role in an area related to your studies. So if you study computer science, for example, you must be working in computer science in some way. The salary must be 30,000 euros or above, and it must be in a skills shortage area. And then the company must be willing to sponsor your visa. So if you're working in a company, they would need to sponsor your visa for that period. Once you're working in Ireland for 5 years, you can then apply for permanent residency if you wish. And we do have a lot of our international students have gone down that route, have done a master's or a bachelor's, worked in Ireland, and then have moved into kind of longer term residency visas while here then as well. Just to touch on before we finish the COVID response and the situation here in Ireland. So our campus will reopen on the 28th of September. There will be a mixture of online and face-to-face teaching to allow for social distancing. But we do expect, quite a lot of teaching to happen on campus as usual. Ensuring safety for all students is our main priority. And we also are arranging a lot of support so students arriving into Ireland will need to do a 2-week self-isolation period. So we will do free airport collections and free accommodation during that period to make sure that students are supported and as safe as possible. For Ireland then, we've had a relatively low number of cases of COVID, so approximately 1,000 active cases at the moment. We're taking all precautions As you can see from my background, I'm currently still working from my home office, and the campus, as I said, will reopen in the next 2 months or so. And we're on a 5-stage process of reopening society, currently on stage 3 of that process at the moment. Okay, so the summary before we go on to the questions and answers. So to study in Ireland, you can expect excellent student experience, student happiness. All of our international students speak about how happy they are about studying here. A very friendly population, you know, integrating with the locals, and fantastic facilities and teaching quality as well. There's a safe and strong COVID response in Ireland, particularly in comparison to countries like the USA and UK. Our case numbers are astronomically lower than those. You can expect internships and industry experience. You can expect extremely high graduate employment rates. So our graduate employment rate last year was 97% for international students within 6 months of graduating. It's affordable, but it's also high quality. So don't let the low cost put you off. It's a very, very high quality education system, but the low cost is due to government funding from the European Union. And then lastly, very important, we have companies that are based in Ireland that are leading the fight versus COVID, and that will allow for very good postgraduate work opportunities for students when they finish the program. So that's basically me. We will move on to questions if we have any, and let's crack into those.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Liam, for the presentation. It was impeccable. So let me wrap it up a little bit. So basically, as you can see that Mr. Liam himself is a graduate of alumni of UL, and he also mentions about how that it is very great to study in Ireland because it is kind of part of like it's kind of like the Silicon Valley of Europe itself. And besides, in UL, they give you promising career prospect and opportunities because it has over 2,000 industry partners, and it also gives you a good an internship project, so you can prepare yourself before you actually graduate from bachelor or maybe master degree that you're taking. And besides, the economic growth in Ireland itself was not really disrupted by the COVID-19, and even it even raised in terms of economy growth, as mentioned by Mr. Liam as well. The costs of living and study expenses over there are quite low compared to the other European countries. So it's a huge opportunity for you because you pay for quite low expenses, and then you get such a huge opportunities later on when you graduate. Besides, as you can see from the video, there's like vibrant atmosphere in which and also facilities in which the students itself, especially international students, can experience later on while living and studying in Ireland itself. So thank you so much, Mr. Liam. Let's just jump into the question and answer sections. So we have several questions over here. Let me check it. So firstly, we have a questions from Melati. Hello, Melati. So the question is, what is the most popular major in University of Limerick, and why do you think that major can be quite popular?
Very good question, Melati, and thank you for asking. So probably our most popular major at the moment is in our School of Computer Science. So we have a range of degree programs, both bachelor's and master's in computer science that are very much in demand at the moment. So things like data science, business analytics, software engineering, artificial intelligence, they are probably the most popular, because students can see the postgraduate work opportunities for working in globally known companies after they graduate. So we probably get the most number of applications for our programs in computer science each year, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the correct fit for everybody. There's a specific skill set you need to have to be a good computer scientist. Strong mathematic ability for coding and so on. So me, for example, I would never be a computer scientist. I don't have the mental breakdown for that. But definitely in terms of kind of popularity, computer science is probably the most popular one in the university at the moment, and we have seen graduates go from UL directly into Google, into Microsoft, into Apple, into the big gaming companies. So Blizzard, Activision, EA, that have their bases here as well. So that's probably why it's popular, I think. And obviously the quality of facilities and teaching here in UL are fantastic as well. So we have the National Software Engineering Research Centre, which is based on campus. So we're seen as kind of the one of the top schools for computer science in Ireland.
All right, thank you. So computer science is the popular major currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, again, it depends on what you actually like and what your passion is. So as mentioned before, there are so many schools and also majors in University of Limerick in which you can choose which particular prospect or aspect that you actually want to learn and want to make it into your career later on. So
I
anyway,
absolutely agree, Christine, and I think that's you're more likely to be successful at something you're passionate about and something that you enjoy, rather than something that is the popular or the trending major at the moment. So whatever you have a passion for is the area to apply for, is the recommendation that we give, because it will lead for better outcomes for all students, and more success for you personally as well.
Yeah, not only about the career itself, but also for our self-satisfaction. I mean, if you actually do what you like, that would be great.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Before we actually jump into another questions, let's talk about the Irish celebrities. Does any?
Yes. Yeah.
Probably anyone here knows who is one of our Irish celebrities that you guys know. If I'm not mistaken, Nicole Kidman and Audrey Hepburn are also Irish. Is that correct?
They have Irish parents, but I think they were born. Nicole Kidman was born in Australia. Audrey Hepburn was born in the States, but they're both Irish parents. I suppose the most famous at the moment, Niall Horan from One Direction. Is that's the one I always get anytime I ask, or else Conor McGregor from USC. But yeah, there's a number. I mean, there's at the moment we're experiencing a big growth in the movie industry here in Ireland. So the Star Wars franchise has been filmed here. Game of Thrones has been filmed here. Lots of big movies that have kind of broken into the different areas. A lot of the Avengers actually was filmed here as well. So we're becoming the new Hollywood in Europe as well, which is good. But I think it's useful, just the music and things like that. So Ed Sheeran's Galway Girl is written about one of the cities in Ireland as well. So there's lots of kind of cultural things you wouldn't realize that is coming from Ireland. Harry Potter was shot in Ireland as well. So there's lots of links to Ireland that you probably wouldn't realize until you actually see it.
Okay, so there are a lot of very famous movies and also musics and also celebrities coming from Ireland. So
exactly.
Okay. Maureen Sunor here mentioned Brad Pitt. Is Brad Pitt from Ireland? Probably Irish.
Yeah, Maureen is a very my granny's name is Maureen actually, so it's a very Irish name. So question. Sorry, there was a question there. So is there a major of design animation in Ireland and in Limerick University? Yes. So we have a bachelor of digital media design, which is design animation basically. So we have two options basically. You can do one which is computer games design, which is specifically animation for the computer games industry, or you can do digital media design, which is more kind of like animation, graphic design using software and digital animation and things like that. So yes, we offer that program both at bachelor's and at master's level. So if you're interested, it's a Bachelor of Digital Media Design. for that program. Let's see. There's another. Is it possible to work and study at the same time in Ireland? What does it require? So yes, Edgus, it's possible to work and study. So you can work up to 20 hours per week during your semester time, and you basically would be able to work. Most of our students will work in kind of shops and restaurants and things like that during their studies, and then once they graduate, will work full time. So a lot of our Indonesian students will either work in shops or restaurants or bars, or will work in kind of like tutoring or things like that. But yes, you can both work and study at the same time in Ireland, which is good.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, it's 20 hours per week, right? Maximum 20 hours per week, in which students can still work and gain income while studying. All right, another question. From Iwayan Usada, I have an interest in education. So what major do you recommend for me? Maybe what major in UL is recommended? Yeah,
so it depends. If you're interested in, if you're at bachelor's level, then we have a range of bachelor's in education, basically. So you can either become a general, like a primary school teacher, which would be teaching kids from 4 to 12. Or you can do high school teaching, which is kids from 12 to 18, and that would be specific to certain programs. So you become a maths teacher or a science teacher or whatever that might be. That qualification is internationally recognized, so you could do education bachelor's and then work as a teacher elsewhere. That is an option for students. We also offer kind of specific teaching, so things like teaching English, so TESOL. We have a bachelor's and a master's in TESOL as well. And then we also offer, if you already have an education bachelor's degree, we offer kind of upskilling masters in education. So you can do masters of school leadership, general masters of education, or kind of specific kind of education pieces around special needs, or kind of, teaching kind of socially disadvantaged areas and stuff like that. So we have a large school of education where there's a range of bachelor's and master's programs, and again they are recognized internationally. So Irish teachers can work all over the world, really, as primary or high school teachers.
Okay, that's great. So in UL itself, they have a huge school of education. So maybe Iwayan, you can choose, and what is your which aspect do you are you passionate about? Is it in teaching English as a second language, or maybe you're passionate in teaching kids and stuff like that? But yeah, that's a very good question. All right, let's jump into the next question here from Anissa Mahendra. Okay, so Mr. Liam, could you give me a recommendation to choose the 5 best universities for master education? Mm-hmm. Master in education, maybe in Ireland. Yeah.
In Ireland, yeah. I'll talk about kind of the education options in Ireland. So the 2 best. So there is Dublin City University, which is based in Dublin City, as the name suggests, and the University of Limerick are 2 of the main kind of education teaching schools. There's also Mary Immaculate College, which is a smaller college type school, which teaches just education. So they have a number of masters of education as well. And then also Trinity College has education leadership and things like that as well. So they would be the top kind of schools that I would recommend. So UL, Dublin City University, Trinity College. And then if you want specifically kind of just looking at education, it's the only major they offer. Mary Immaculate College in Limerick is another option as well. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry for that.
Okay.
So there are options besides UL. There are Trinity College and also the Dublin City College. Yeah, that's great.
And the conditions kind of are the same as I mentioned. The high quality education, the subsidized funding, all that sort of stuff is is the same for pretty much all the public universities in Ireland. So in Ireland, there are 7 public universities, and then there's 19 publicly funded, what are called institutes of technology. So they are smaller kind of regional colleges. They offer more flexible programs, so kind of a diploma or an ordinary bachelor's degree. But they would all be funded by the Irish government, and they would all have the same kind of low costs, stay back visa and high quality education. So the sector is a very good one to consider to study. And there's enough universities to offer a major for everybody that has a type of subject they're interested in.
Okay, that's great. So by the way, I'm curious about is there any like international students community or maybe facilitations special for international students in UL itself? So just in case maybe the international students have difficulty adjusting while living in Ireland for the first time.
Absolutely, and that's something that we very much focus on. So we understand that international students are moving halfway around the world. They're changing climate, culture, language, education system. They're changing everything. So we do understand that is stressful. And, I always tell international students, no matter where you go in the world, you will always be homesick. You will always be worried about, making friends. You'll always be worried about getting into the system and things like that. So I during my time in UL, I actually studied abroad in NYU in the States. So I did a study abroad experience as part of my degree. So I kind of get a little bit about the nervousness and the difficulty that students are kind of experiencing. So we have a couple of different things that are in place to help students. One of the things is we have a very strong international student society. So we do we kind of set up basically groups of student ambassadors. So they're international students that are maybe here for 3 or 4 years, and they kind of do consultations and answer questions, and they'll speak to students even before they arrive through, we have an app called Campus Connect, where all of our incoming students, our student ambassadors and our staff are on there. So they can basically speak to each other before they even arrive, so they kind of have a better idea of what's happening. We have a global office or global lounge where international students can drop in any time of day if they have questions, if they need letters, if they are struggling with bank letters or visas or whatever that might be. They can call in and meet the team and do that. And then lastly, one of the big things that we kind of encourage students to do is to join some of our clubs and societies. So we have about 95 clubs and societies. So they would be things ranging from soccer to drama to music to photography to whatever that might be. And basically the best way to enjoy yourself, the best way to make friends, the best way to kind of relieve stress is to kind of do something that you're interested in, that you're passionate about, outside of the classroom. And we kind of actively encourage, particularly our international students, because I think they feel that they have to study all the time, and they put pressure on themselves to do that. They really do have to kind of do something other than study to make sure that their mental health is well, that they're enjoying their time in the university as well. So we have a recruitment drive every semester. All of the activities are fully funded by the university, but they are student led. And a combination of all those things has kind of led us to have the best student experience in the world. So that's kind of that's the method we put in place. But most of our staff have done study abroad at some stage. So all of the international team have done some sort of study abroad piece or do understand the kind of the stress that people are under when they move overseas.
Okay, that's actually really great. So for those who would like to study in UL, you don't have to worry about homesickness or maybe adjusting in the environment itself, because as mentioned before by Mr. Liam here, that UL really facilitate the needs of the students itself. Besides, there are a lot of other international students who probably go through the same thing, and in which you can also go and socialize with them through communities and maybe clubs and whatsoever. As mentioned before as well, I'm really interested about what you said before regarding how the academic staffs and people over there already have the experience itself in living or maybe studying abroad, in which it will make those international students feel like home when they're actually away in Ireland. So that's really great. So I think that's it for the participants. If you have any questions, please just put it in the comment section here below. And do not forget, because as I mentioned before in the very first section, that for those who give questions, you will receive rewards in which you will get free TOEFL simulations after the event later on, and from Best Partner Educations and also Kampung Course. All right. Okay, there is one more question in here from Christian. So, is there any master degree for psychology major at UL, and what are the requirements for applying besides completing your bachelor degree?
Very, very good question. Thanks, Christian. So we have a large school of psychology, and we offer a number of different psychology masters. So depending on which area you would like to go into. So we have a Master of Science in Psychological Science, which is the first step in becoming a clinical psychologist. And then we offer a doctorate in clinical psychology. So for students who have a bachelor degree in psychology, they can do that master's program and then move on to the clinical psychology program. For students who have a bachelor's degree in a different area but want to transfer or change their major to psychology, we have a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, which is kind of what we call a major changer. So you can do kind of a different area in your bachelor's and then do a Master of Arts in Psychology to then move into the clinical psychology pathway if you prefer. So it depends on the bachelor degree that you've done. If you've done a psychology degree already, then I would recommend the psychological science program. And if not, you can do the Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. And actually this is a question that has prompted something that I should have covered. So entry requirements and scholarships are always a common question. So I'll talk a little bit about those. So for entry onto any degree program in UL, for masters, you need to have a bachelor's degree and you need to have a GPA of 3 out of 4 or above. So that's kind of the usual entry requirement for our master's programs. So a GPA of 3 out of 4. For our bachelor's degree entry, we accept SMA 3. So a GPA of 2.0 or higher, plus either SAT or foundation. So you can either do SMA 3 plus SAT and go directly onto our bachelor's degrees, or you can do SMA 3, then do a foundation year, and then go on to the bachelor's degree, depending on your academic ability, on your English language, and your preference as well. So the English language entry for foundation is an IELTS of 5.0, and the English language for direct entry is an IELTS of 6.5. So normally students who haven't maybe got the high IELTS scores will do a foundation year first, and then we'll go on to bachelor's after they finish. For scholarships, we do offer merit-based scholarships to all students. So if you have high grades, so if your bachelor's degree is a GPA of 3.2 or higher, you can qualify for a scholarship up to the value of €4,000, which is about 1/3 of tuition fee. And for bachelor's degrees, we offer a scholarship of €6,000 across the 4 years. Again, that's from SMA 3 score, so a GPA of 3 out of 4 from SMA 3. So Christian, I've answered your question, and then I've also answered about 5 questions after that. So apologies for the long-winded answer, but yes, absolutely, we have masters and clinical doctorates in psychology. It's one of the majors available in UL.
Okay, that's really great. So I'm actually really amazed on how that UL has a lot of school and also a lot of majors that can facilitate the students in itself. So basically, if you don't have to worry, whatever is the major that you would like to take, you can obviously check on the UL website to make sure that it's there. And you can also come to Best Partner Educations and also Kampung Course in order to get further information about UL majors and also requirements on how to get to UL itself. That's actually really great.
And it's we're quite a large university, so we've got about 17,000 students, and of that, about 3,000 international students per year. So it's quite a diverse campus as well. So it's not just Irish students that are here. We have big student populations from all over the world, and it's quite a nice place to be. You know, it's a really diverse campus, so you can make friends not just from Ireland, but from all over Europe, all over Asia, all over the Americas as well, and go from there. Another thing just to mention as well, and it's a question that comes up quite a bit from Indonesia. We have halal food on campus, and we have a prayer room on campus as well. There's a mosque just off campus, so it is something that I do get questions about. But we have quite a kind of good facilities for Islamic students on campus as well. So I know it's something people worry about when they come to Europe. Will there be facilities? But it's useful just to mention that as well.
Okay, that's really great. So again, no worries if you guys are Muslims and you need to pray, and then also if you would like to get halal food, it's going to be quite easy in UL itself. And again, I think one of the most important thing that you mentioned previously is about the international students. So basically, if you go study abroad, what you want to have is not only about the knowledge, but also the network and also the relations that you get. But in UL, not only you get the networks from Irish people or the campus itself, but you also get networks all over the world because there are a lot of internationals. So.
Absolutely. And the key one is actually your professional network. So the big thing, the massive draw for us is the internship opportunity in year 3. So if you're doing a bachelor degree, you spend 8 months in a company. You know, if you do well in that company, like most of our students get a job offer back from that company after they graduate. So about 65% of students return back into their internship company after they graduate, or at least get an offer to go back into that company. So you build a professional network actually of people working already in your sector before you even graduate. So that does really kind of benefit you. Also, when you're applying for jobs, you have professional experience on your CV, which kind of gets rid of that difficult scenario when you need experience to apply for a job, but you have to have a job to get experience. So it removes that catch-22 situation by providing you the experience before you even graduate from the program.
Okay, that's really great. All right, I think this is the end of the section itself. Thank you so much, Mr. Liam, for sharing. So we got a lot of information about UL itself on how it is one of the best universities in Ireland, and it gives a lot of prospect and professionally, and also it facilitates the international students need, obviously. So, Mr. Liam, is there any last statement before we close the session?
No, thank you so much, Christine, for the time, and thanks to everyone for the interesting questions. So fantastic questions, and I look forward to greeting some of you to UL over the coming years, if possible.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Liam, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session today. I hope you get a lot of insights and also knowledge about not only about UL but also about studying in Europe. Thank you so much, and for those who already gave your questions on the comment sections, you will be reached out by the committees later on in order to redeem your free to full simulation. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah, bye.